At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ox, Max Gotro, Jordan Kinch's back in the studio. And thank you for being with us. If you're watching along with us at the College World Series, LSU with a 7-3 lead in the bottom of the sixth inning. This game suspended last night after 3 innings because of rain. Tigers came out and got 2 right off the bat here in the 4th inning to extend the lead. They sent Kason Evans out to pitch. He got through, allowed 1 base runner, got through the rest of the 4th. Also got through a scoreless 5th and a double play to end the 6th inning. So LSU sending Kason Evans out has done a very good job. They have scored 2 runs in this game so far, the resumption of this game, and they've got 2 on with nobody out here against the second UCLA pitcher, Randall, that came in today. 7-3 is the score. The Tigers trying to win so they can avoid playing another game later today, weather permitting, in Omaha. Jimmy, how you doing?
Good, man. LSU completely flipped this one. This one looked like it was going to be a rough one because UCLA just hitting Ianson pretty good, and some self-inflicted, but you know the ball he hit, the double down the left field line, that was up in the zone. But 3-0 with the wind blowing in, with the park playing so big. But man, this park, this is the one game that's gone over with ease and sort of a comfortable over. That first game was how many hit batsmen scored. There was unearned runs. It was kind of a fluke over. Now, this game has been the most hitting-heavy game that we've seen through 7 games in the College World Series. And looking at the home run to right center yesterday, right in the teeth of the wind, launch angle, not what you want to try and get it out to that park, and it just barely got over the right fielder's glove. Charlie, it just seems like in Omaha, it just gets out or just stays in for LSU's liking. Pat Burrell, slams it.
It's happened.
How about Ray Wright?
Ray Wright was over the fence.
Okay, I mean, just stealing it away. I mean, this one, Warren Morris. Who thought that would? I had the best seat in the house. I didn't think that was going out.
I didn't think any ball could get out that day with the wind blowing the way that it was. I thought that.
That was the only way.
Yeah,
kind of
liner
down the line drive. To
get that ball out yesterday.
That ball out on that launch angle, which is, I guess, trajectory's now launch angle, I guess. But and that's that's hard to do, man.
That's extreme strength into that right center field. Remember the conversation we had with Ed Service, who was the longtime coach at Creighton, just retired this year. Ed would always come on the show when we go up to Omaha, and we asked him, how many balls, they play their home games there, how many balls are in play, alley to alley, in, say, the last 20 to 25 feet of straightaway center field? None.
So you saying
from like the
balls in play?
Yeah, the edge of
about home runs.
Yeah, either home runs or balls that are caught at the warning track in center field from, say, the edge of the interior edge of the power alleys in the deepest part of the park.
I'll just go even alley to alley.
Yeah,
it's
the deepest part of the park. And he said none. I mean, we don't know they play in cold weather a lot for a lot of the year, but none. He says we don't even hit very many balls out there during batting practice. To put that ball out, and the ball was not carrying. I mean, the rain was coming, the air's heavy, the ball didn't carry there anyway. That is just an amazing amount of strength to muscle that thing out.
Big guy, Charlie. I mean,
he's huge.
He's every bit as big. He's actually bigger than Mark McGwire was when he was at USC, and he's 1 inch shorter. I mean, McGwire was 6'5", he's 6'4", and I mean, he's a big guy. And no, he hit it. He knew he hit it, but still, that doesn't mean I didn't think it was going out.
I was worried. I mean, I never think any ball's going out to the outfield at that place. And think about this, too, the mental aspect of it. It's the first inning. UCLA got 3 in the top of the first. You're coming off an 0-for-5 game with 5 strikeouts. What's in your head going in there? It's easy to press there, isn't it? It's easy to just swing out of your shoes and maybe miss something. But he barreled that thing up, and he got it out. So give him credit mentally, give him credit physically.
He didn't barrel it up any more than Pat Burrell did in Omaha.
No, he didn't, but the wind wasn't galing in either at this park yesterday. Not like it was that day.
No, but it was blowing in.
No,
Burrell also pulled it.
Yeah, it was just a huge part in the ball game. As UCLA is going to go to their third pitcher of the day, Ian May, a junior left-hander, 8-3, 4.93 ERA in 69 and a third innings of work. The Tigers have got 2 on and now 1 out, so he's going to the lefty to he's going to turn Stephen Milam around here and have Milam go from the right side.
Milam's calmed down at uppercut, man. He's hitting line drives. Yeah, everything he's hitting is line drives.
His hit today plated the first LSU run. And so he turns Milam around. I see what Savage is doing here. He turns Milam around, and then he's got Brown, who struggles with left-handers, on deck. So
and in infield, that consists of 3 former shortstops. I mean, the guys that are on the left side are probably toughest in the country.
Yeah, they feel
those guys are really, really, really strong.
We talked about the LSU fielding the ball at a 981 clip. These guys fielded it right about the same thing, 981, 982. Chalowski, the shortstop, you can see why he is as highly thought of as he is. He's very smooth. He's got some size to him. You know who I thought the first time I saw him play? He's got some Rush Johnson in him. You remember Johnson?
I think he's way more agile, way more Caribbean type of Dominican looking. I mean, he's. We don't have a whole lot of American-born shortstops in Major League Baseball,
and not that big either.
He's just fine. He's gonna be just fine. He got a lot of wiggle in him. Coach Cato would say, "Oh, Jerome, it's because they all dance when they grow up. They're nimble, and it's just something beautiful to watch about the Caribbean shortstops, Latin shortstops. He got a little of that in him. I mean, for being as
he's got range, he's got plenty of arm, and obviously know you can hit.
What about the play he made last night? Where he threw it on a bounce to first for the 6-3 put out.
Yeah,
I mean, that's more the uppercut. That ain't.
Milam flies to center field. Stanfield will tag and head over towards third. So first and third with 2 out for Jake Brown, who struggled against left-handers. He's mashing right-handed pitching all over the place. Left-handers have given him a little bit of a problem. We'll see if he can come up here with a 2-out hit, try to extend LSU's 7-3 lead.
So it took a little bit for Ianson to settle in.
Yeah.
He was much better after. We saw that is a guy like we respect as much as Morrison, from Coastal. I mean, after he settled in, he was unbelievable. You could say the thing for the Arkansas pitcher yesterday too. But the thing, LSU wanted more innings out of Ianson than UCLA wanted out of their starter.
Correct.
Okay, so when the rain comes and it disallows that, well, that's a little bit of an advantage for UCLA to try and maybe come back. But throwing him less gives him that much more availability at a sooner time moving forward. But the way it goes, I cannot see him starting tomorrow. And if you have a do-or-die game on Thursday, that's 100% Anderson. That game 2 years ago was Skeens, and in that Thursday game against Wake Forest. And so he'll in relief is, and he came in relief in the Super. So the regional, not the Super.
With the lead, yeah. He only threw 44 pitches yesterday. I thought he was settling in. I thought the momentum was with LSU. I thought he would at least get them through 5. You never know. Things can happen in a hurry. But I thought he would get them at least through 5, maybe even a little bit deeper than that. And if they were able to extend that lead, they had gotten it to 5-3. I thought the momentum was in the LSU dugout. But and of course, you had the stands were packed, and this is not the 50-50 split that LSU Arkansas was. UCLA's brought 14 people. So I thought all of the momentum was on LSU side when the rain came. And if they had to come back last night after an hour, they were going to bring Iacin back.
But both teams have deep bullpens, but LSU's better. I mean, Evans is better than these guys that UCLA's throwing out there today.
Yes.
And throw out last night, too.
The one guy that they got that's a big power guy is the closer. And you're obviously not going to see him unless they're ahead. The rest of the arms, they're good arms, but Evans is, I think, an elite arm. As Brown grounds out to end the 6th inning, so we go to the 7th with a 7-3 lead. Evans through 3 innings has thrown 38 pitches, so he's in pretty good shape.
He is just he's on a roll, man.
Yeah, I thought there were 2 choices for Jay Johnson today to start the game. It was Evans or Cooper Williams, and the reason I would have considered Cooper Williams is UCLA had the bottom 3 of the order up, or 6, 7, and 8 in the order due up. They were all left-handed, so I thought they might go with the lefty to open up thing. They have 6 left-handers in this lineup altogether. I thought it was either Evans, who's your best arm, or Williams, who provides maybe the best matchup for you with the lefties. He decided to go with Evans. He's responded with 3 shutout innings, 2 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts through 38 pitches here at the College World Series.
Yeah, weak chopper to first baseman for UCLA takes it to the bag unassisted, so that retires the side. But it was 2 walks to start the inning for LSU. In a second last night too. It started by the
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. It was trying to get last night seems like a long time ago. Look that up real quick. The LSU first was it was actually Fry singled, Milam singled, Brown singled, Jones homered.
Single homer.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
It was later in the game.
The run that they got in the 3rd, walk, strikeout, Hernandez 2-out single, back up the middle to score the run.
I guess the one that kind of went out there. I mean, the ball off of Ben his freshman year by Paul Carey in Stanford at the Grand Slam, that wasn't that far out.
It wasn't. Were you at the press conference in 2000 when Mark Marquis and Bertman they did the joint press conference before the championship game, and they were talking about, you guys have met here before, and they were going through games, and Skip said, Carey got that ball out against McDonald, wind aided. And Marquis gave him a look like, screw you, wind aided. But I'll laugh. And then Skip, he looked over and goes, wind aided. Yeah, right. Yeah, wind aided. And Marquis was like, man. Yeah.
I was at the one where, in a game like yesterday by Gage Jump, it reminds you, Wood, rather. I always want to call him Jump. The Laxton game, where Bertman and Dryford came in there. That was the only thing. I mean, that Wichita State lineup was a little bit more potent, maybe. But you know what? Murray State that's the strength of their team is their lineup, and it was another one, though, Charlie. The 3rd time, though, and I think it's a little extreme in the rulings because all 3 were reviewed and all 3 ruled. Now, the first 2 were intentional hit batsmen called on the field. Last night in the 8th, the 9th inning, it was a 26th out, right?
He was the leadoff guy, wasn't he?
In the ninth?
Yeah.
I thought he was the second out.
He might have been.
But it was 2 strikes, so they called it intentional, so it was an automatic out. I don't know, man.
I thought it was a bad call.
I think their enforcement, their awareness has been raised, but it's gotten to the point where I think they're overdoing it a little bit.
Yeah, you're allowed to turn your back, okay? And he turns, and he doesn't even turn dramatically. He turns. I mean, he's trying to defend himself. He doesn't stick the elbow out there. I thought it was a bad call.
It's just something to remember while this thing continues to unfold, and none of them are being super important. As far as his perfect game was done, it wasn't going to affect his no hitter. It gave him one more out of the 27, but still, these crews are enforcing it,
and they haven't enforced
it. I think they're over enforcing.
Yeah,
it
they haven't enforced that all year.
No,
I was there the year they enforced it, and it's not like that.
That is strictly Coastal coming in with all their numbers and. The opposing coaches bringing it to their attention. We're over here at Mike Anderson's. We're shucking away already here in the Oyster Bar. Come on by and see us. We got LSU on all the TVs over here. Always have the ball game on here in the Oyster Bar. The oysters are half price every Tuesday, starting at 5 to 9 p.m. Now, we can do them char grilled as well. Of course we do. But we also have some of our June monthly specials, the appetizer specials for the month of June, in addition to our regular extensive menu, the Kick and Tails, jalapenos and Louisiana crawfish tails, deep fried and tossed in a sweet chili sauce. Shrimp cocktail we're doing with our 5 Gulf shrimp, served with a homemade cocktail sauce, which is outstanding. Tookies, lighthouse trout, lightly seasoned trout, dusted with flour and pan sauteed, topped with lump crab meat and toasted almonds, and in light lemon butter sauce. You get with a choice of side, salad, coleslaw, garlic bread. Summer salad, romaine and iceberg lettuce with strawberries, blueberries, dried cranberries, avocado, feta cheese, and toasted almonds, served with pepper jelly vinaigrette. Our dessert feature for the month of June is strawberry season, strawberry shortcake, house-made sweet cornbread covered with fresh strawberries topped with vanilla whipped cream. And our drinks, a watermelon mule. How about that? Watermelon mule. We're doing the frozen Miami Vices, and our draft is a Parish Bayou Blonde here at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson.
7-3 LSU, UCLA with a runner at first base and one out in the top of the 7th inning. Live at lunch from Mike Anderson's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Second out of the inning recorded on a strikeout by Kason Evans after a review on whether the ball had hit the batter on the previous pitch. It kind of grazed his sleeve, and they took a look at it.
I don't think it's grazed his sleeve.
Well, I don't think it did either.
I think
UCLA thought it did.
No, and originally I did because it was because I saw something flap right where the ball came. The ball came, if it hits his elbow guard, it's going to bounce. We know that, okay? Yeah. But it went by, and then his it wasn't his sleeve, but it was actually kind of by his chest area. It was a little flap motion, but the ball had gone through. It was the right call in my opinion, but it took some time to look at it.
Yeah, Savage for UCLA out to talk about this call third strike. This is a low strike. This has been called all game. It has been called both ways. This home plate umpire will give you a little bit of leeway down low. If you were calling it straight by the letter of the law, that might be another umpire. That might be a ball. But I got no problem. He has called that both ways. He rung up Dickinson on a similar pitch a couple innings back, and you can tell UCLA is not enamored about that low strike being called.
College umpire and stick around. You'll see it all.
Yeah. Look. Stay consistent. I understand the strike zone is going to move around a little bit with these guys.
There's a lot of inconsistent umpiring. Man,
there's a huge amount.
It's just all over the place.
If you're going to call a low strike, you're going to call a low strike all day, then go ahead.
He's trying to work it for the next call. That's all.
And they're going to give you a little bit of leeway. Even if you're arguing balls and strikes here, nobody wants to throw a coach out of a game at the College World Series. See a ball popped into foul territory. So it's 7-3 LSU. Top of the 7th inning, UCLA with a runner on first base and 2 out. All right, Jimmy, I got to ask you, couldn't have got yesterday's game more wrong with Arkansas and Murray State. Thought that it would be a lot of runs scored. Thought that the Hog Bats would wake up after a pretty quiet
I'll join
game.
him on the fun of being wrong. I mean, Murray State, I said they're an over team. Okay? Look, don't take the sword all by yourself.
Well, we missed it. We thought the game would go over. We thought Arkansas would score a lot of runs. I missed on Gage Wood in particular. Not that I'm supposed to know that he's going to throw a no-hitter, but
Nobody.
He had worked his way back, from the injury, missed 2 months, and then 2 outings back, he went 6 innings. It was his longest outing of the year. But then he regressed back to 3 1/3 in his outing before this one. Knowing that Arkansas wants to get as much out of him as he can, they got to come through the losers bracket. I thought 4 innings was a reasonable. It was a reasonable ask from him yesterday. Couldn't have missed that by any more. He was dominant. I called it. You were at the Laxton game. I called this the best game in college baseball, the best pitch game in college baseball. If you get a no-hitter and you strike out 19, I mean, it's Kerry Wood stuff, you know.
Yeah.
He didn't walk a batter. He hit and
that
one.
Was close.
Yeah, and then they overturned the other one. I didn't like the call in the 9th inning when they overturned it. I thought it. I didn't think it should have been strike 3. But even if he would have hit that guy, you don't walk anybody. You strike out 19. You throw a no-hitter in an elimination game at the College World Series. That's the ultimate, man. That's the pinnacle. I don't think you can do it any better than that.
Laxton threw it in a tougher park for pitching. And Rosenblatt against a tougher lineup, although this Murray State lineup, that's the strength of their team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's by far their hitting, their approach at the plate, the kid they got from Louisiana Tech recently. I mean, they did get, it's shut out, though, in Game 6 in Oxford. It's like 11-0.
Yes, yeah.
So that was their one off spot. And listen, Ole Miss is deep into their pitching at that point too.
Right.
You know, so in a Game 6 where, they're trying to. No. That would have been their third game. They won the first. Did they win the first two? Yeah, they had to.
Yeah. You get a no-hitter in an elimination game at the College World Series and 19 strikeouts and no walks. I was there for the Ty Floyd game 2 years ago when he struck out 17 against a really potent Florida lineup. Okay, that was a masterpiece. You were at the Laxton game in '93, which was for the national championship. Okay, but these stakes are pretty high. Your season's on the line. I mean, you lose, the season's over. Murray State may not be
LSU. Florida was in a championship series.
It was in the championship series. That's right. If you want to say, well, Murray State's not, a blue blood or whatever. They got here, man. I mean,
my memory was Floyd. Did he have a little expanded strike zone that day?
No. You're thinking about maybe the 17 game with Garrett Gilbert against Oregon State, where they.
I know that one. I'm well aware of that one. That was the Eric Gregg game.
No, he had a lot of swing and misses in that game.
You know what it was though yesterday that was really impressive, and I think Ben talked about it. I would put it out. I'd bet my life on it that Ben said it at one. There's a lot of strikes that they were swinging and missing.
Yeah.
So they weren't. Like Evans when he struck out 9 in a row. Man, those balls they're starting in the strike zone, but they ain't even close, and they're missing about 2 feet a lot of time. I mean, they're not even close to it. These are strikes that they're swinging through.
19 of the first 20 pitches were strikes. 19 of the first 20.
So he is
not fastball.
One thing we were right. He's the more talented guy between him
and Root
and Root and that was a big part of. That was the biggest injury combination in the SEC that had a national impact on college baseball. In Texas was never the same. They were the same for one more rivalry weekend. Without their ace, they swept Texas A&M at home all by 1 run, and then they got hammered. And then that was right when Wood came off the IL came back from injury for Arkansas. And so Arkansas, they needed now. Yes, when you're coming out of the losers bracket and we've seen this too, guys with way less ability and way less ballyhoo than Gage Wood that have gone really deep and sometimes will give you a complete game. That's the ultimate. You do not want to use one more pitcher than you have to, even down the line. And they didn't have to yesterday.
No, and
I thought they kept him in. I thought they would have pulled him when he got to about one. What did he finish with? About 115?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I would have thought they would have pulled him maybe a little bit early if it wasn't the no hitter going into the ninth. Not before the ninth, but going into the ninth. If he was, if he had given up 2 runs before I would have pulled him.
Sure.
It's 3-0 game now.
Yeah, they had an opportunity. I'm trying to see. He threw 119 was his total. So here's the thing for Arkansas. They didn't use anybody else out of the bullpen, so they got Jimenez is still ready to go. One of their big guys out of the room. Eves is still ready to go. McIntyre is still there. Now they used up Gackle. Gackle threw too many pitches on Saturday to come back today. But if they can get through tonight's game, they could bring Root back tomorrow. In fact, I'll be shocked if they don't after only throwing 30-something pitches on Saturday. So they can do that as we move further on. 7-3 LSU bottom of the seventh inning. Evans got out of the way it went on. And a leadoff walk here, and it looks like Savage may be going to his bullpen.
It's big
again.
to hold on here, Charlie, because what that game did yesterday for Arkansas and this rain delay for LSU, they got to come back tonight and play. Arkansas's at an advantage.
Yes. Oh, look.
Because you had to use more pitching to get to that night game than Arkansas did.
A ton, yeah. If the genie had come out of the bottle at breakfast yesterday for Dave Van Horn and said, "What do you want? I want a complete game shutout out of my pitcher. I want UCLA and LSU to start, go 3 innings, and then I want it to rain."
Yeah.
I mean,
LSU a little bit on cruise control right now, but they've got to finish it.
Use the third wish on whatever you want, but that's my first 2 wishes: complete game and rain for them.
One thing to know: we could see a similar situation tonight. There's
the weather,
projected storms as well this evening.
Jay Johnson got a little bit more power in Baton Rouge, man. A little bit more influence than he does up in Omaha, huh?
Yeah, maybe the USGA could take a couple.
Yes. Max,
we played through last
you saw
night.
The protesters? Max and about 6 of his golf buddies outside. Let them play. Let them play in the rain. Thunder, lightning, splish splash.
Lightning be damned.
Yes. K&M Automotive on Segan Lane, Segan at Perkins, right across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery. It's the only place I take my vehicle. What we do is we want an honest deal. That's all we want. An honest shake on getting work done on our vehicle. And that's why Jason Payne has so much repeat business. He's going to be busy when you go in. He could see you right when you come in. He might reschedule you for, a time to come in where it's more convenient for everybody. We just don't want you sitting around all the time. But, hey, go check it out. He has business. That's a good sign. Don't want to go into one where they have no business. Absolutely. It's the only place I take my vehicle. They're open 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Check engine light comes on, we'll take care of it. Belts, hoses, general services, electronic, oil change, tires, AC service, you name it, we'll do it for you over at K&M Automotive. K&M Automotive on Segan near Perkins, right across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
LSU 7-5 in the bottom of the 7th inning. A 4-3 put out, advances Jones to third. 2 outs, 1 runner at third. 7-3, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th inning. LSU 6 outs away from advancing to the bracket finals, semifinals, if you will.
Can we call it, go old school? Can we call it just winner's bracket?
In the marble game, win the marble game. That's what it is. Let's go to Andy Isco. Andy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. I'm still trying to get over that weird no-hitter yesterday by Wood of Arkansas, and I guess are they playing later today against likely UCLA, or will that be tomorrow?
Tonight. But
Tonight,
weather
okay.
permitting. Weather permitting.
Yeah, weather permitting. Yeah, it's. By the way, I was unaware that when you get a hit by pitch and they turn it around, that it becomes a strikeout.
That's funny you mentioned that.
Actually, it should be a ball, shouldn't it?
No, it's called a strike,
no, it's
and
called
the guy
a
had
strike.
2 strikes.
Yeah, it's funny because all 3 times it's sort of been a point of emphasis or point of enforcement here at the this College World Series this year, and we do see the college players voluntarily take pitches that are about to hit them, especially at this deep into the tournament, more than we do. It's more common than in them. So, but it's it's a strike, and it's been called. It's been enforced 3 different times already through 7 games.
It's weird because you got to remember these balls are coming in at 85, 90, 95 miles an hour. The natural reaction is to turn, but also back up and get out of the way, as opposed to your natural instinct that says, "Oh, I'm going to just get hit." So you make that split decision, and you're backing away. And if it still hits you, it's unusual, but I guess everybody knows the rules, and I guess you really can't make account for natural instinct.
This is why and it's not natural instincts when it comes to Coastal Carolina. When you're hit 170 times by pitches, you're coaching it. As a little duck snort, Texas League or an RBI single increases the LSU lead now to 8-3 in the bottom. Favorable hit there, line drive to box score, huh, Charlie?
Yep.
That was about as weak of a hit ball for a hit that LSU's had in this postseason.
Yeah, Dickinson just kind of. It was a pitch on the outside part of the plate. Just kind of flung the bat out there and got it to find some grass. So it's 8-3 now, Tigers.
But Coastal, was it 170, Charlie? Hit batsman this year. They practice it. They do it, and basically opposing coaches have brought it to the attention of the umpiring crews.
And the situation should be, if it happens more than once, after the second time, the team is warned, and any hit by pitch after that is an automatic out.
Well, that's not the rule, because the rule is
what should be the rule.
I got you, but the rule is in college is you can hold your ground. You're not forced to move out the way, but if you lean into it in any way, and it's kind of being over-enforced a little bit. So that's the rule, and that's what they've been looking at. But it's been enforced 3 times already through 7 games.
Anyway, it's just an interesting comment about what was otherwise a very spectacular pitching performance. And I'll be interested to see what Arkansas does tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. Of course, he threw an awful lot, like 111 pitches or some number like that.
119.
If they might save him if they need him at the end of the game, like in the final 2 innings.
Oh, he ain't coming back.
To save this season. He would only pitch, I think, out of extreme necessity, because they wouldn't be saving him for anything if their season's about to end with another 6 outs.
Charlie, those 6 pitchers that started games in the regional round that came back and pitched on Sunday or Monday, what was the most pitches that they... Like Ianson
threw like 32, I believe it was. 32.
No. When he originally pitched.
Oh, he originally pitched. It was 98.
Okay.
I'm sorry, he threw 20 in the second game because he threw 118.
Shutt from Murray State, Elliott from Ole Miss. Who's the guy from Tennessee?
Liam Doyle threw a lot. The top one was 134. Was Kiln, the kid from Kern, from West Virginia.
He came back on a Sunday.
He threw 118 on Friday. Came back and threw 16 more on Sunday. So it was 134.
So what Andy's
total.
point is making, where do you think that Wood might come back?
Gage Wood would not come back until at
Thursday?
least. No, I don't think they could throw him on Thursday. He's got first round potential. They can't bring him back on one day.
These other guys don't. You just talked about a guy come back 2 days later. That's 3 days later.
I can't imagine he would come back
on Thursday.
On Thursday, maybe. Yeah. I thought you meant Wednesday. I thought you meant Wednesday. I'm trying to get my days straight, man.
Okay.
But no, they do have plenty bullpen. They got a lot of guys.
Excited, Max. Huh?
See, I would only save him if they are trailing in the 7th, 8th inning or something like that, and have him throw maybe 15 pitches.
Yeah. Well,
not start the game.
Yeah, we will see. So these It's a Keith Law. Keith Law is the pitch count police, and we saw it. So in the regional round, if a starter, and went not the distance, but about 100 pitches, give or take a few. All 6 of them came back. 1 came back on Sunday, and 5 came back on that Monday from Friday. Yeah. So Monday to Thursday, that would be a do or die game if Arkansas does win tonight and tomorrow night as well. They could. So we will see. I don't think Anderson or Ianson will be starting for LSU until Thursday. So that makes it Wednesday game more interesting. What did you think of the game last night? Pacers and the Thunder. Tough one to kind of a flip of the coin cover game last night. It was kind of back and forth, and then Pacers had it down to 2. But the big storyline is Halliburton. Just how much is injury, how much is ineffectiveness, but he sure didn't look like he was 100%.
Carlisle says he expects he's going to play in Game 6, but yes, you're right. We don't know will it be at 70% or 90%.
Well, he played last night. He wasn't any good. So if he doesn't improve his percentage, I mean, how much do you think was due to injury last night?
What's that?
How much do you think of his ineffectiveness was due to injury last night?
Well, it's probably partially. It's probably also partially Oklahoma City playing so well at home and the outstanding defense. And, when you're kind of a shooter like Halliburton, some days you just have off nights. It's easy to say it's due to the injury, but, you could also give some of the credit to OKC playing in a game that, if neither team could really afford to lose, but at least Indiana knows that Game 6 is back home and that there would be a Game 6 regardless of what happened last night. But it actually sets up nicely for how I plan to approach Game 6. I had the over last night, and if you've gone throughout the series, it seems as though the second half of these games has been exceedingly higher scoring than the first halves of these games. And we finally have in Game 6 the first elimination game, because that's what Indiana faces, and they're at home. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit more of a deliberately played game, which makes me look towards the under in the first half. And depending upon how that goes, I might look for a similarly paced second half that we've seen, especially, neither team wants to lose, especially Indiana, obviously. So I might take a look for a second half over.
Yeah, Indiana may have had their chance on Friday night, winning by 8-10 points into the fourth quarter, and then only coming up with 1 point in the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds as they were outscored. Let's see, 12-1 in the last 3:20 of the game. I mean, 89% free throw shooter, misses 3 of 4, 2 multiple dead ball, away from the ball, technical foul shots that SGA pumped in. So, wow, what could have been. Now, look, get it to Game 7, game on. And they certainly have a fighting chance.
Let's also, of course, remember that, they could have done it in Game 4, but remember how fortunate they were to win Game 1.
Yeah, no
There's
doubt.
always going to be points during these games, but the point is the results are what they were, and all that matters is the next game.
Look, 4 of the 5 games have been very, very competitive. So I think that why do you think Indiana is shortchanged, or should they be shortchanged? They got so little respect by the betting market in this
I don't know. They've had such an outstanding record since the beginning of January. I don't know exactly, but I think they and OKC may have been 1-2 as far as performance since the start of 2025. And, we've talked about it before. Indiana presents a problem or a challenge for OKC that most other teams that they face don't, and that's the quality depth that Indiana has. Denver is a team that did not have that kind of depth, and yet they still managed to make it a 7-game series. So I thought Indiana was basically underrated the entire playoffs.
Yes. So game 6 tonight down in Florida, the Stanley Cup Finals. All 5 have gone over, including Saturday night, where it's 2-0 in the third period, and the total is 6.5, and it still went over 5-2. Any thoughts on tonight's Game 6?
What's the line currently?
Florida's $1.55 and 6.5.
Yeah, it's really hard to me, fundamentally, I like Florida, and I really like their defense. So it's really difficult to make a case for the over. And I think I had the under in one of the other games. I don't remember if it was game 5 or 6 where they scored very, very late, and the game that was sitting on 6 for a while ended up going over by that. I don't think it was an empty net goal. I think it was maybe just a very late goal. So I'm not sure if we're going to do anything in tonight's game. Maybe get involved partially through. Maybe I take a look at the under for the first period.
All right, Charlie, get us caught up.
8-3 LSU, top of the 8th inning. UCLA with a runner at second base and 1 out. Kason Evans
67 pitches.
Yeah, 67 pitches, and he is still out there. Got a 1-2 count to
By the way, how did the brackets get set up so that LSU and Arkansas, who I think clearly were the 2 best teams of the Final 8, get to play each other before the championship round?
Luck of the draw, just like the NCAA basketball tournament. I mean, how they play out. You know, they seed them 1 to 16, and now the 2, 3, and 4 seeds in the 16 regionals are sort of geographical or other, but now it's just the luck or unluck of the draw.
Yeah, it just seems that, you know, from a marketing standpoint, from a TV standpoint, you want to have the best possible matchup occur when you're getting to the final series of games, and I think that they need to give some thought to that.
You think they should do the same in March Madness?
No, because that's. I could make a case for it, but March Madness, because there's 64 teams in there, it's all single elimination, and basketball's a different type of game, I guess, than baseball is as far as that goes.
Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. Great stuff as always, Andy. Thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, have a great week and good luck to your Tigers.
Don't forget our friends over at Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and shutters. That's right, shutters. Relief Windows offers custom-built interior louvered shutters and exterior powder-coated aluminum shutters for your home. Shutters are not only durable and aesthetically pleasing, but they also enhance privacy, light control, and storm protection as well. That's right. Windows, doors, siding, and shutters. Relief Windows. Do like I did when I needed to replace my wood windows. 288-8138 and reliefwindows.com.
That's it for Kason Evans. They make the move to the bullpen. Cooper Williams coming up. There's some lefties coming up in the UCLA lineup. We'll take a break, come back, and wrap up hour number 1. 8-3 Tigers. Live at lunch from Mike Anderson's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
UConn. 8-3 LSU. We are in the top of the 8th inning, and it's 2 on and 1 out. Kason Evans leaves after 4 1/3 innings, giving up 4 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. 2 runners are his responsibility. And Cooper Williams, they are at 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the next guys due up. They are all left-handed. And Cooper Williams has gone now with a full count to him. You don't want to lose him. You're going to load the bases, which I think is what's about to happen. So we'll come back from the top of the hour and let you know what's going on. Yeah, Cooper Williams has loaded the bases with 1 out. 8-3, LSU leading. We're in the top of the 8th inning in this resumption of the suspended game from yesterday. The winner to move on. Oh, that's a close pitch, man. Whew, yikes. All right, back with hour number 2, first class, second class, no class, when we return live at lunch from Mike Anderson's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And we welcome you back here at Mike Anderson's, Wesley at Nicholson, watching LSU and UCLA, the resumption of yesterday's suspended game. It's 8-4 now, LSU on an RBI ground out. And Cooper Williams is in with runners at the corners and 2 out. And there's a ground ball up the middle. Dickinson's going to have a hard time. He's going to have to put it in his pocket. Yep, that's an infield single. That'll make it 8-5 is the score now. Not hit very hard, but kind of like some of those, a couple of those balls in the first inning against Ianson yesterday.
Yeah, that's what you do, man. Just hit it. Don't get it up in the air, man. I mean, just try and hit it on the ground, hit line drives. So that's what they do. Time run at the plate.
Yeah, he was brought in. There were 4 left-handers coming up. He got one of them out. There was that infield single, and 2 runs have scored. I imagine they'll let him pitch here, and then Chase Shores is ready in the bullpen if they get to the 9-hole hitter, which is the right-hander in this lineup. So you got runners at first and second with 2 outs in an 8-5 ball game, and the catcher, Duggar, who is left-handed, is at
3 straight lefties in a row he's faced?
4.
That's odd, huh?
They've got 6 left-handed bats in the lineup total, which is kind of why I thought Cooper Williams might actually start today. Kason Evans was the right call. Of course, he pitched terrific and just kind of ran out of steam a little bit. 2-0 now to count to Duggar. It's the first time LSU's faced some real tension in this game. They got 2 runs in the first inning, which was the 4th inning of today's game, to spread it out to a 7-3 lead. Evans was really in command, and they haven't had the high pressure pitches until this point. So, big spot for the freshman, Cooper Williams. They put him in a couple of high leverage situations, but not this high leverage in the regional super.
1-0 pitch he didn't miss by much. Could have been called.
A couple of these, have been very close, and he missed it outside. They've been getting a low pitch from this umpire.
There you go.
That's a strike, and it's
2-1.
2-1 is the count now. With LSU leading at 8-5. All right, first.
Tell how many of the locals go to the games, huh? How much less? I mean, not all the LSU fans just left home. Might have had a few that wanted to go see the first 2 and come home, but it just reminds you that in this unannounced, this unscheduled game, there'll be more at 1 o'clock for the 1 o'clock game, and then there'll be more, a lot more for tonight before. But that's why it's not going anywhere. The city just supports it, man. They got. They fill the stands for every game.
Yeah, a lot of people would probably take half day. You go to work in the morning and you take the half day as Williams has walked the bases full again.
Missed poorly on that. Missed badly on that one.
With the right-hander coming up, I would imagine that they're going to go to Shores here. I would think. He was brought in to face the 4 left-handers. He got one of them out, and now you got the tying run at the plate, and Shores was up in the bullpen, and Zach Cowan is down there as well. Shores had warmed up before, but it's Cowan. Johnson's coming out to get him.
Shores, I think, is at the gate. I think Cowan's stretching.
Okay,
that's what we saw there.
I imagine this will be Chase Shores. All right,
he's already made them.
They're going to make the move.
Shores.
All right, let's go to first class. Big time performances by players when you got to have them the most. Your very best players. Cade Anderson, one for the books on Saturday night. 7 innings of 1-run baseball in the first game of the College World Series that he has played in, and against an opponent like Arkansas, who brings as dangerous a lineup, although they haven't lit it up in Omaha, but for the season, that's one of the most dangerous lineups in all of college baseball. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 2 walks and 7 strikeouts and 1 run. And he was a real bulldog out there, pushing LSU to that first game win against the Hogs. That's a first-class outing. And for Jared Jones, last night, it's still this game, but UCLA puts a 3 spot up on the board, so there's a lot of pressure here. There's even more pressure on Jared Jones coming off of an 0-for-5 with 5 strikeout game. And he muscles one. We talked about it in the open. He muscles one over the right center field wall for a 3-run homer, and LSU puts up a 4 spot and takes the lead right back. These 2 guys have been, the top of the mark for LSU. Anderson has been the Friday night starter all year. Jones is, first team all conference. Went into a slump at the end of the season, no question about it, but still the best power bat on this team. So first class, the 2 guys in a situation where LSU got to have it. Those 2 guys have come through. You like both of those?
Okay. Yeah. The ball that Jones hit was just a tough. I mean, if it was a line drive, maybe so, but I mean, it was just up in the air into the wind. It's a tough place, and it barely got out, but it was that'll get him going. And they interviewed is Chris Button, who's kind of in the dugouts, bouncing around, field level reporter. He goes, all right, Coach. Well, you sent Jared Jones to get some more sliders in the off day and things like that. How do you feel? He said, what'd you think? He goes, I smiled. So
yeah.
And Burke and then we're talking about. I think Ben was saying, look, man, something about an off day, man. Off day sometimes can kind of get you redirected, get you back on track. So.
And it did. So good for those guys. Second class, I'm going to kind of ask you a little input here. I got a couple guys that I'm thinking about, but if LSU continues in this College World Series, who might be the next guy? We've seen Anderson, we've seen Jones come through with some big opportunities. Chase Shores was really good out of the bullpen today. For me, it's still Stephen Milam. When his bat is going, this offense is just so much different. It's a switch hitter. You can put him in a lot of different spots in the lineup. They turned him around today. He had a key 2-out hit. When Milam is going, it's a ground ball to Milam, and he'll flip it off. Yeah, Chase Shores gets the ground out to end the threat. So UCLA leaves the bases loaded in the 8th inning. It's an 8-5 LSU victory. One pitch, ground ball to short.
Lead.
What's that? Did I say victory?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. 8-3 lead.
Excited?
Going to the 9th inning. Hey, you got tongue-tied in the first segment. I can. I'm trying to do two things
victory.
at once. 8-5 lead. Milam, for me, is my good with a chance to be great. He's already been plenty good in his postseason. We saw when he got going in the Super Regional that LSU really opened up on offense. So he's still my most integral part of the offense.
He's had a good start. It was watch, though. I mean, he kind of hits line drives, keeps the ball on the ground. He's fine. When he starts uppercutting, man, he just kind of gets himself out in this park.
My other second class, good with a chance to be great, is Brian Rolop. You know who Brian Rolop is? I didn't know who Brian Rolop was until yesterday when it's announced as the soon-to-be PGA Tour commissioner, and this leads me right into no class. Rolop's been working for the NFL for a number of years.
I told Max it was a joke Sunday. Man, they're so mad at the USGA. They just cleaning house, man, after that disaster and after the rain delay.
No class. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan says he'll step down at the end of his contract in 2026. And as far as I'm concerned, good riddance. Max, I want you to weigh in here, but I'm a casual golf fan, casual to maybe a little bit more than casual. You're a golf lifer, okay? Here's as the outsider looking in at Jay Monahan, here's what I say. I see a guy who kept the fans completely in the dark, kept the players completely in the dark, negotiated a secret deal, announced that he had a deal to bring LIV and the PGA Tour back together. What was that? 2 summers ago now. Has left the game in limbo. Has left some of his stars like Rory McIlroy hanging out to dry. Has produced, as far as I'm concerned, very little leadership. Now you tell me if I'm wrong, and if you think I'm wrong, please go ahead. But I, for one, every time I see this guy, I see a guy flubbing over his words. I see a guy stammering and trying to make excuses, and he's done. Maybe he was part of what got the enhanced purses after LIV was established. Maybe they like that, but as far as I'm concerned, he's left a lot of the fans and players hanging out to dry, and I'm personally glad to see him go.
Yeah, he's been a very poor leader, and he has gotten a lot of situations. He's put the tour in a lot of situations that are unresolved at this point. Now he's going to finish out his contract till the end of 2026, so there's a good bit of time still left in his tenure. We'll see if anything changes, but I guess he's a lame duck now. I don't know how much that changes. The new commissioner who's going to take over for him, he's now the CEO. He's been named CEO already, so he's going to be involved in this process.
Rolop.
Apparently Rolop has also been named as a potential replacement for Roger Goodell. But one of the things that we see a lot of commissioners in leagues are unpopular amongst the fans, but a lot of times that's different. Goodell is working for the owners, and a lot of times the owners are happy with the commissioner. Rob Manfred gets a lot of hate, but a lot of the ownership backs up these decisions. That's why they're hired, to be kind of the face of bad decisions that the league makes that the fans don't like. In this case, he's working on behalf of the players, and a lot of the players do not like the job that Jay Monahan's done. So it's logical that this is going to come to an end. It seems a little bit late at this point, but it's been reported that it's been in the works for some time that he was going to be sunsetted, as it's called.
I think they're happy with. They pay him a lot of money for him to be their mouthpiece. I mean, if they are not happy with him, he's gone. So
Right,
and he does not open his mouth before running it by the group of owners. No, he's just a front man, and that's why when I think about commissioners, how much in this body, I know Goodell is. Some of these owners aren't savvy enough in media and can kind of maneuver through this and politicize some of these things as well as Goodell did. But Monahan was kind of on his own guy, his autonomy, because he didn't have to. How much different? Like, I'm just wondering how much was he just a front man and nobody could have handled this situation, or he was?
No, I mean,
explain the different contrast and comparison.
He put them in this position, and what I'm saying is he is beholden to not 32 teams, but he's beholden to 250, 300 players or so, and a lot of those players are unhappy. The fracturing is that essentially these players have different strengths. It's not like 32 level playing field, 32 level teams that they each get a vote. Rory McIlroy gets a bigger vote than Henrik Norlander, who doesn't pay. Exactly. So the problem is you have these lower class players who want a certain thing. They want all these guarantees of so many cards, 125
everybody's
players.
Self-interested in it.
So there is a balance there, and there aren't just 250 players who are on equal footing. But he's answering to a larger population, and a lot of them are not happy. If you poll the popularity rating among the players of Jay Monahan, it's not very good, unlike what I think the ownership would give to Rob Manfred, to Roger Goodell. That's why they're still in their role, and that's why Monahan's on the way out.
Still a pretty good job. Goodell makes $64 million a year. Okay, so $64 million. That's a top job.
$2 million a pop.
Okay. Monahan's not going to start. What do you think he made last year? This surprised me. I didn't think it was this much.
Monahan,
last report,
$3 million, $5 million.
You're light. I would have guessed right about what you're guessing. Very light. $23 million is what he made.
They gave themselves a raise.
And this guy
gave himself a raise.
They gave themselves a raise a couple years ago.
Attaboy.
Well, he doesn't answer to anybody. He doesn't answer to 200-something golfers. He answers to himself.
Apparently.
It's supposed to be a player-run organization, but that's been made clear over the last few seasons.
The secret deal is
so you don't have a board of players?
They do have a board, but there's a board of players that also reports to a board that's filled with some players and some just higher-ups, executives. So some of this, look, I understand. Part of this is the players don't want to work with sponsors. They don't want to be selling tournaments. They need somebody to do that on their behalf. They're not lawyers. They're not,
Plus, they've got their own sponsors that they've got to sell. So there's
they're not
conflicts
selling
of interest
tournaments.
there. Yeah.
They're going to leave that to somebody else, but they've perhaps given too much power in terms of the key decision-making to other people, to executives who have ultimately put them down this path. And, look, the biggest problem I think Monahan will have in all of this, and I think it gets overblown, nobody really talks about it anymore, but he had a chance years ago, well before LIV was even an idea. There was another premier golf league, a PGL basically, a similar type of LIV thing that invited the PGA Tour to participate. And LIV also wanted to participate with the Tour as well, and he would not take those calls. He didn't even entertain those ideas. So he put himself behind the eight ball by not actually, being a leader and actually hearing this out and maybe seeing the problem that he had forthcoming.
Communication skills pretty weak too.
Yeah, I guess I guess I can understand a little bit of that until you figured out how much the Saudis had, how much money the Saudis had. For instance, if the UFL said, "Hey, Roger, we'd like a meeting. We want to talk about how we can work with you. And Goodell goes, I don't need you.
But what if the UFL was backed by Elon instead of The Rock? It would be a little different.
That's the difference.
Money.
Yes, that's the difference. Right. He grossly underestimated how much power the Saudi tour might have if they ever put their full set of resources behind it, which, of course, is what they originally finally did. I'm glad Monahan is gone. First class, second class, no class, brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Down in Southwest Louisiana since the 1930s, you're supporting our Louisiana farmers when you purchase Supreme Rice. The Climate Smart packaging that you see there as part of the Climate Smart program that ensures there'll be future generations of rice farmers here in Louisiana taking advantage of things like the water conservation measures that they have and reducing methane emissions. You can pick up Supreme Rice at any of your AG food stores, your Rouse's, your Walmarts. Easy to get in the brown, long grain, medium grain, the jasmine, or the parboiled rice, which is the favorite at the Ott household. One of these days I'm going to get an invite to come get some of those red beans or white beans that he's making on Mondays, but make it with the parboiled rice, restaurant quality and fantastic to eat. So pick it up at your local grocer. Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Pitching change for UCLA right now with the score LSU 8 and UCLA 5. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Tigers with a runner at first base and one out. Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And today is also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike. So let Coastal Capital Advisors work with you, your business partners, tax professionals, your legal team to make sure that all your retirement goals are in place. They've done a terrific job for our family. They've established that lifetime relationship. You're always going to have somebody that you can talk to, work your way through. Doesn't matter where you are in life, no matter what your age or your financial situation. They'll make the best plan for you and your family so that your goals can be recognized. Talk to Phil Fontenot and his great staff. CoastalCapitalADV.com. Coastal Capital Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC. So another scoring opportunity for LSU here with runners at the corners and two outs for there's that guy again, Jared Jones. Interesting move by John Savage, Jimmy, to bring in Easton Hawk, which is a terrific name for a baseball player, by the way. Easton Hawk, his closer, the best arm in his bullpen, down 3 runs here in the 8th inning with potentially another game to play later on this afternoon. This is the 6th pitcher that they have used in the ball game.
Well,
I'm sorry, their 8th pitcher that they've used in the ball game.
I was about to say,
8. I'm sorry,
you know how many has LSU used?
They are on number 4.
12 pitchers.
Used whatever means necessary.
Didn't you tell that Dave Van Horn dream? It's expanding.
Yes, you're right. Not only do you want rain, but you want these guys to have to go as long as.
He showed some life in the 8th inning, and you got it to 5, got it to 3. You had the tying run at the plate. A number 9 hitter, was strung at the very first pitch as another RBI single for Jones. So that'll make it 9-5 now with 2 outs. All this with 2 outs, huh?
Yeah.
No, 1 out.
No,
walk.
one out walk. One out walk. I don't know if I'm going to my best. I think I got another game I got to play today, probably. Maybe they get a rally, but. I don't know.
The top of their lineup's coming up.
Yeah, you're going to have the top of the lineup again.
You pass LSU's 3 best pitchers. Anderson, Ianson, and Evans. That's their 3 best coming in. And so it might, now, you're not happy about it now. He's fidgety, looking at him in the dugout. So he came in and 2 hits.
Of the 6 pitchers that have pitched today, that's where I got 6 from. It's 6 today. It was 2 yesterday in this same game. None of them have thrown more than 32 pitches. You've got the last 3 guys have thrown 16, 15, and 13 pitches, so they could throw later today. It's like throwing both ends of a day-night doubleheader.
Hits Hernandez in the first pitch in the shoulder. not being reviewed. It was pretty much in. It was hard for him. It wasn't like one of those where he leaned into it. There's a Mardi Gras float going down the street, Charlie.
Oh, the big tiger. Yeah, he had an eventful trip up there.
Hog fans didn't like it, boy, when they took a picture in front of Razorback Stadium.
How do you think if they drove a 14-foot
pig,
400-pound hog up into the front of Tiger Stadium? Probably wouldn't into the box. Probably wouldn't like that too much either.
Well, they didn't drive it in the stadium.
I know they put it right outside the stadium. Fans are a little sensitive about that kind of stuff. We see. Well, wouldn't this be a great place for Braswell to run into one? He's really struggled. He's an ultimate team guy. He's kept a great attitude about this whole thing, and he's a terrific glove. He just hasn't been hitting. He's like one for his last 20, 27, 28, something like that. He about do a hit, don't you think?
It's kind of what UCLA does, though, getting back to them using 8 pitchers in this game and then coming in with your closer. We talk about that Texas-San Antonio game where, they had a shutout. Well, how many? When you have a shutout, how many pitchers are you using? You're not using 5.
You wouldn't think, no. And you wouldn't. You usually don't.
And how about my starter? He's got four goose eggs. We're going to pull him.
That doesn't happen very often at all.
Well, that also tells you the confidence they have, or the lack of, in the kid that started against LSU. He had very little, Charlie. Last
Stump.
Yeah. His numbers. Now, did they have to play somewhere else besides Jackie Robinson Stadium, or they played there?
They played there.
Okay, so they had to practice some other places.
They went across town to practice at
different
high schools and stuff. Yeah. I did hear that story as well. They Stump and Barnett, the top 2 starters, somehow managed to go through 2 starts in the regional and not strike anybody out. That's your top 2 starters. They just weren't real big.
Oh, there you go. You got into one, but
no, not in that park. Not in that park. Braswell flies out to end the 8th, so the Tigers will take a 9-5 lead to the top of the 9th inning, with Chase Shores trying to get the final 3 outs. So that's where we're at. If you're joining us late, if you've been working, LSU came out with Kason Evans in the top of the 4th inning, allowed 1 single, and then got out of that inning. LSU got 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th, and then Evans put up 3 more goose eggs in the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings. The Tigers added 1 more run. In the 8th, Evans ran into a little trouble, was lifted after 4 1/3 innings for Cooper Williams, who came in to face the 4 lefties. He only got 1 of them out, but he did set the stage with the bases loaded for Chase Shores to come in and get a 1-pitch ground out that got LSU out of the 8th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And then the Tigers got that run in the bottom of the 8th inning. Who drove in that run? I'm missing. Was it Jake Brown? Drove in that? No, Jones, excuse me. Jones drove in that run. That is 4 RBIs in a game now for him. And it gives LSU it gives LSU a 9-5 lead going to the top of the 9th.
The first or second pitch, a lot of was first pitch hit batsman. First pitch, they were swinging away at this, and it was Shores who only threw 1 pitch to retire the side. There was a number 9 hitter. And his fastball just above his knees, and he went swinging away. So it'll be at the top of the lineup here in the 9th for the UCLA Bruins. This is the unders have been 5-1-1 until this game, so this will make it 5-2-1. But this is clearly the most hitting-oriented game that we've seen in the College World Series.
21 hits now for the 2 teams combined.
That's a lot against rested pitching. I mean, LSU is throwing the guys they want to throw. UCLA is throwing the guys that they want to throw. So, a lot of balls squirting through the infield. Sharply hit grounders. Not. And he had that one little duck snort by who was that to right field for LSU
for the
8th run. I think it was.
Yeah,
but besides that, I mean, most of the, just a better approach. But 1 home run is all for the game, right?
Yes.
So I think 4 home runs max in 8 games. I believe that's right.
I think that's what I had seen, yeah.
Yeah, so
1 for Arizona, 1 for Oregon State, one for, oh gosh, help me out.
LSU.
Arizona,
Arkansas.
Kid. Arkansas off of Anderson. That's right. Yeah.
Charlie, they hit one off LSU.
They hit one.
And Jones hit one.
That's 4. That's 4.
Listen, 3 more outs, and you can say victory. Okay?
Read your spot.
It's a good. But you think you might have Secretariat flashbacks, huh?
Don't even bring that up. Don't even bring that up. I'm shunned by certain people because of that comment. Deservedly.
You would pick up on a lot of new supporters.
Deservedly, yeah. I had that one coming.
Wait a minute. We had a
for
big
somebody
lead.
who should know better.
Don't forget our friends. It's hot, man. And that AC breaks down. That is not good. Probably one of the reasons it breaks down is because you didn't get that service check, and we could have identified something. But if you waited, like most of us do, so you call 480-1000. 480-1000, total maintenance. I've been dealing with Lucas Ragusa for a long time. He's a great dude, man. Huge Saints fans. I was with the game back against the Falcons, the Gleason game, the Cardinals and Vikings playoff games on the way to the Super Bowl that season. He does a great job. He started out, he's a tech, and then he's running it, managing it, and he's owning it. It's just he has been in the industry for a long time. It's one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC heating companies since 1980. AC heating, generator installations, maintenance, you name it. Service today, every day. That means same-day service. You'll never sleep hot. Call today, get service today. Factory authorized dealers for Carrier, American Standard, Dakin, and Rheem products, covering both the Metro Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas, but totally different staffs and offices at covering each area. It is total maintenance. 480-1000, 480-1000.
9-5 LSU, bases empty, 1 down for UCLA in the 9th. Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The game now a final from Omaha at Charles Schwab Field. LSU wins it by a score of 9-5. They move into the driver's seat in bracket number 2. Here's some of the relevant stats. Anthony Ianson started with 3 innings before the rain. Kason Evans gets the win in relief. He's 5-1. 4 1/3 innings, he gave up 4 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts, 2 runs. Scored actually after he left the game, but were charged back to him. Cooper Williams threw a third of an inning. He threw 21 pitches, and Chase Shores got the save. His first save of the year. Of course, he spent a lot of time in the rotation for the first 8-9 weeks. Inning and a third of perfect baseball, 4 up, 4 down. He threw only 11 pitches. We give you that when we start talking about what LSU is going to do in the next game. Kason Evans threw 68 pitches. That's past the point of no return of being able to bring him back on short, I would think, for any amount of time. But Williams and Shores could certainly come back and give you some more in the next game. For UCLA, the starter, Stump, took the loss with 2 innings. They got him out yesterday, and they used 7 more pitchers, but none for more than an inning and 2/3. So Grothus, who was the pitcher that threw yesterday, the 3rd inning, threw 18 pitches. The first 2 guys today, Moss and Randall, threw 24 and 32 respectively. The last 4 guys, none of them threw more than 16 pitches. Jimmy, we talked about it a lot. We've seen UCLA go with this bullpen by committee. It served them very well in the Super Regional against Texas San Antonio. I would imagine that all of these guys could come back, the equivalent of a daylight doubleheader, to give them something later today. The only real surprise for me was that Hawk got in the game with them down 3 runs, who is their best relief pitcher, their closer. But he only threw 13 pitches, so he could
he didn't look good.
Back. No, he looked a little shook up. Might actually help him later today to get out there on the mound for the first time. And
this was Vertina kind of slumping, Charlie. At the plate. In the regional super. I mean, how many free passes they get in the super? But Tino's a little slumping in a much tougher, hitting ballpark. I mean, LSU had constant. It was constant activity. I mean, it wasn't a lot of kick balls. I mean, was there any errors in the game?
There were no errors in the game. UCLA only walked 5. I say
that's
only
a lot.
walked 5. Well, compared to what we were just talking about. LSU had 12 hits in this game. Every starter in the lineup except the third base spot, which was split with Reeves and Braswell, got at least 1 hit.
12 hits and 5 walks, man. Yeah, that's constant traffic. That's a lot more traffic. Against this staff who was rested, got their win where they weren't overly taxed in that first game. And so I just thought that this was, that LSU handled their pitching a lot easier than I expected.
Absolutely. 8 players in the starting lineup got hits. 5 players in the starting lineup scored runs. 5 players in the starting lineup drove in runs. The big offensive explosion was from Jones. He was 2 for 4 with 4 runs batted in, including a 3-run homer. Jake Brown had 3 hits in the game. He was 3 for 5 with 2 ribbies. Milam had 2 hits in 4 at-bats. Ethan Fry was 1 for 2, but he walked 3 of those 5 times, Jimmy. He scored 4 runs in this game out of the 2-hole. And Derek Curiel was 1 for 4 with a run scored. Luis Hernandez had a 2-out RBI single, and Daniel Dickinson there was a 2-out RBI single.
Yes.
And Stanfield had a hit down at the bottom. So UCLA will play Arkansas. Before we get into what happens next, Max, give me the weather for the rest of the day, because this could play in here.
Yeah, so the game that was scheduled to start at 1 is going to start a little later, obviously, with this game going on a little late. It's now scheduled, I believe, for 1:43 between Oregon State and Louisville. We see a total of 11, and Jimmy, the wind is actually kicked up a little bit. I noticed it in that interview with Case and Evans. The wind is blowing in from right center field. It's forecast to be about 8 to 12 miles per hour, so it is going to play quite big of a ballpark here in the 1 o'clock game. But also this evening, we saw storms come into the mix yesterday evening. Right now, there's this line of storms that's projected to come in. Omaha's right on the edge of it, so it's a question on whether they'll actually get that edge of the rain line. There's expected to be thunder and lightning with it, but it's supposed to come in around 6 o'clock, so that would be right when this next game is supposed to be scheduled. Could we see a game get pushed back once again to tomorrow morning? We'll see, but at the very least, it does look like this game would not start if that becomes an issue, so you wouldn't have a case where Arkansas and UCLA have their starters just used up and not able to go tomorrow.
If you're trying to get the bracket straight in your head, here's what's supposed to happen. Oregon State and Louisville are supposed to play this second game, and then the third game tonight at 6 o'clock. Coastal Carolina is supposed to play the winner of Oregon State-Louisville tomorrow at 1. LSU is supposed to play the winner of UCLA and Arkansas on tomorrow at 6. If any of that gets pushed back, the Thursday day is the if necessary day. If Coastal Carolina and LSU are to win, then there's no baseball on Thursday, and there's no baseball scheduled for Friday regardless of anything. But that's the built-in hole for rainouts. So there's room for them to move everything back if necessary. Another day wouldn't actually bother me all that much for LSU if they had to play one of these games on Thursday, as long as it's not 2. So for LSU, I would say that obviously Cade Anderson is on the shelf hopefully until the weekend. You hope you don't have to use him. If you lost, you would bring him back for the game to get you to the championship game. Jimmy said that was the Paul Skeens game a year ago. Case and Evans, I would think, is on the shelf here for at least, I would say, 3 days. But everybody else can pitch. Everybody else can pitch. It's just a matter of what Jay Johnson wants to do.
Since we're talking about the weather, just one more thing I want to get to. We are upset about how this park plays so much differently than the tournament.
I'm not wild about how the park plays. I'm not saying it's not fair in any way, shape, or form. Okay, it's just is this my favorite way to watch college baseball? It's not, but it's a completely fair park. I want to be. I'm not bitching about that.
I don't like it. I mean, it could be boring.
It's not my favorite way to watch a game. But it plays fair. There's no problem there.
The bad news is for the finals, perhaps Saturday, Sunday into Monday. Saturday, Sunday. Right now, we're looking at 20 to 30 mile an hour winds blowing in from right field.
Wait, what days?
Saturday and Sunday. So this would be game 1 and game 2 of the finals. I mean, it's going to be howling in from right field.
Yeah,
so
small ball, baby. Better get ready.
I don't want to get ahead of things, but that is a real factor looking forward at this tournament.
either by design or because of the nature of his roster, whatever you want to say, LSU has run more this year. They have bunted more this year. They've hit and run more this year than any of the previous 3 years, and they fielded it. Well, I'm just talking about the offensive side of stuff. They've done way more of that stuff than Jay Johnson has, and yes, they field it at an immaculate level.
I mean, look, when you talk about the 98, when the wind shifted, and that was even at Rosenblatt, I mean, the biggest thing that hurt LSU was their inability to, their fielding. I mean, it was sloppy. Like they never practiced, bunt fielding. So, look, just to put it, the sheer numbers. Now, the extreme is like Athens, Georgia, okay, where they hit over 6 home runs a game.
Yeah.
Over 6 home runs a game in a regional. We got a half a home run a game.
That's this park.
I mean, you've
had a lot of good pitching too. I mean, you got a guy throwing no hitter yesterday, but that's the park. The ball just doesn't carry. Just doesn't. That's
the wind might be a welcome sight actually this weekend for the fans. It's going to be 98 degrees
on
Saturday. 98 degrees at this time in Omaha.
And look, I've been there when it's been like that. The second game in 2009, down on the field level before the game doing the interviews, it was like it was hard to catch your breath. It was so muggy and so hot. We've also been up there games where bring a jacket because it's cool, so it can change up there.
Well,
but I've been there when it's that hot.
As they pushed it back, we've got more of these warmer. It's been warm all week, but then that's really spiking it. It's been in the high 80s. This week, mid to high 80s have been the average temperature for the games.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, the Big Ten tournament was less than a month away. About a month, and those games were played in the mid to high 50s. And now you're talking about for this weekend will be 40 degrees warmer. And that helps the ball carry.
Sure.
There's no doubt about that. Playing a little deeper because it does actually play a little because it's deeper into the year than when it opened the first year or two. I mean, that was really, really bad. But no, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of how the park plays. I'd like to have I'd like to have a few more home runs a game than that.
I agree.
And look, think of the 4 ones they hit out. The guy for Arkansas got it pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He hit it well. Hit it over the bullpen.
The first one we barely got. Remember the left fielder for Coastal? It's like hanging over the wall.
Yeah.
We thought he had it.
Yeah.
We didn't know if he caught it or not.
Right.
Because last night's Jones gets out by a couple of feet.
Yeah, just a little bit. A little bit.
The other one was
the catcher from Arizona hit it pretty good.
Against Coastal?
Was it against Coastal? Was it against
Arizona played Coastal. That was the first game
against Louisville.
I feel like we did see one no-doubter.
Yeah, the kid from Arizona hit it pretty good. Yeah.
Well, that was Arkansas's.
He hit
two
no-doubters.
Yeah.
The catcher from Arizona and the Arkansas one.
A couple wall scrapers and a couple.
You're not thinking about the Oregon State one against Morrison?
I think that
was a no doubt. The Arizona home run was the first game. It barely got out. That was when the left fielder was hanging over.
You're right. I am thinking about Oregon State. Yeah, I am thinking about that. So who pitches for LSU next? My guess is that it's Zach Cowan. He started the game in the Super Regional. That didn't go well, but he's been one of LSU's best pitchers all year. It's Zach Cowan or Jaden Newt are my two best guesses, and I think it's going to be Cowan that gets the start here. Long-time starter at Wofford. Relief ace for LSU for the first half of the season. I think he gets the start. But it could be Jaden Newt, who got some starts late in the season, had 5 starts overall. And I think he'll have pretty much the whole bullpen, including Anthony Ianson, who could be used. They'd rather not, obviously. No, you'd rather not. But he threw 44 pitches yesterday. If you needed to bring him back on Thursday or even Wednesday to close out a game and get you the championship series, you could do that. You'd obviously love to get through without that happening.
You would use him tomorrow? In that capacity?
Boy, if I had a 1-run lead against Arkansas going to the 9th inning, yeah, I might. I know it'd be a roll of the dice because you wouldn't be able to use him again. But, yeah, I might. To get me to the championship series, yeah, I might do that. Depending on who else was available, tell me. I'm going to assume I don't have Kason Evans for the next 2 days, so he's I could put Shores in there.
Yeah. So we'll see. Don't forget our friends over here at Mike Anderson's. Again, it's our June specials. Again, appetizers like the kickin' tails, Louisiana crawfish tails, shrimp cocktail, or entree features for the month of June. This is in addition to our regular menu that we have. The Tookies Lighthouse Trout. It's basically a trout almondine with lump crab meat. Summer salad. Talk about with those fresh strawberries and blueberries, cranberries. You can get it with grilled chicken or shrimp. Our dessert is strawberry season, the strawberry shortcake. Drinks, a specialty drink for this June is the Watermelon Mule, Sky Watermelon Vodka Ginger Beer, watermelon puree, and a splash of lime. Frozen Miami Vice, and in our draft that we're rotating this June is the Paris Bayou Blonde from the Lafayette Broussard area. So always have different monthly specials in addition. Of course, it's Oyster Night, oysters and a half shell or half price every Tuesday night from 5 to 9 p.m.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, we got about a minute or so. Max has a trade with the Pelicans.
Yes, the Pelicans now have 2 draft picks in the first round of this year's draft, which is in 8 days. They have traded with the Pacers to acquire the 23rd pick and the rights to Mojave King. Mojave King has never played in the NBA. He's overseas. It's just a player to fill this out, it seems like. But the number 23 pick traded the Pacers. In return, the Pacers are getting back their 2026 first-round pick, which the Pelicans have previously acquired. So they're giving them back their pick for next year, but getting the number 23 pick. They own number 7 and number 23 in 8 days.
All right, LSU wins today 9-5, complete the game from yesterday. Tigers in the driver's seat along with Coastal Carolina. So we got Louisville and Oregon State scheduled to go here. What do you say, 140, Max?
143, I think is what I saw.
140 or so there. The second game scheduled for 6. They're going to be ducking weather all day and all night, so we'll see what happens. If everything is played on schedule, LSU will play the winner of UCLA and Arkansas tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, although obviously watch the schedule. Thanks to the folks here at Mike Anderson's for being our host today. New appetizers and entree features on the lunch menu today, including the Lighthouse Trout, which I know is already what Jimmy has ordered, the shrimp cocktail, and the Louisiana crawfish tails deep fried and tossed in a sweet chili sauce and jalapenos, they call it, kickin' tails. Tomorrow we're at Roca Pizzeria. For Max, for Jimmy. Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. And don't forget, Hanny Podcast dropping right here in about an hour on YouTube. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.